Welcome to my channel, Purposeful Play, where I talk about all things early childhood education. I'm Danielle, and I am a 4K teacher in Wisconsin. And today I'm going to talk to you about open-ended art or process art. And I'm going to show you a whole bunch of ideas with printmaking. So let's get started. First of all, what is process art? Well, really, it's exactly what it says. It's the process of creating art. So it has nothing to do with the end product. So it's not a craft where the kids are going to create something that is all very similar to each other. Like they might be like a bird. Everybody gets the pieces to create a bird, and all the birds look pretty much the same. So that's not what process art is. Process art is the kids are given the materials and they may be shown how to use some of the tools, but after that they are free to be creative and artistic and do really whatever they want with those. So just wanted to let you know or sort of explain what process art is and why I love process art and very rarely, if ever, do anything else. We don't do crafts in our classroom. You know what, somebody did this activity for us a couple years ago where they gave us strips of paper. There was green, there was yellow, and black, I think. And it was just thin strips. And they said, okay, take these pieces and make a flower. Make a flower with these pieces. Well, the pieces were already cut for us, so we're very limited in what size the pieces were. So everybody put the pieces down with, the stem. Actually, I don't even think there was a stem, but we all put the pieces. The yellow ones were the petal, and then I think there was one in the middle for black. It might have even been a circle or something like that. And then we had to take our paper and everybody put them on the floor. And then the teacher went around and kind of moved them around, and we had to go back and find our flower. Nobody could do it because they all looked pretty much the same. And an artist wants their artwork to be unique and really reflect who they are and what they are interested in or their process of creating that art. So I'm a strong believer in an advocate for process art. So today I'm going to share with you some printmaking ideas, and all you need is paper, paint, and stuff. It took me a minute to figure out how I could set this up so you could see what I was doing on the table here. So let's start with an easy one. I just have a cup of paint here, and usually I use a plastic plate to put paint on, but because it's environmentally friendly and we just wash the plate and reuse it, but I did not want to do that today. So I'm gonna just put a little bit of paint on the paper here. And one thing that I like to use, blocks. So the kids can take the blocks, they tap it in the paint, and then they're doing stamps or prints of the blocks. And you can use one side, or you can flip it over. They could flip it over and use the other side. And you can see what it looks like there. You could use Legos, you could use cups. I was thinking of all the different kinds of shapes. Cups, you could use blocks from your blocks center. I could tap that in there. Oops, it's dripping. And make circles. You could make all kinds of shapes. I'm sharing with you only one color today because that's what I felt like using. So this could be one way of making prints or printmaking. First one is using shapes, and they can be anything from your classroom. And I want to say that I usually use a plastic plate so that I can wash it off and reuse it, but today I just wasn't feeling like washing it again. So I'm showing you with a paper plate. But all you do is you put a little bit of paint on the plate, and I tend to put a couple of different colors or a couple of different plates out, and then I put out shaped items. So here's just a block. It already has paint on it because I've already used it, but the kids can do a stamp with it on the square side, or they can turn it over and do it on the other side. And here's what it looks like. So we've got squares and circles on there. You could use cups, the top circle part of a cup. You could use a paper towel rule to tap it in here and do stamps of that one. I'm not gonna do it because I'm gonna save this one. But if you look through your cupboards, you will find all kinds of different things, shaped things that you can use for stamping. So that's one thing to do. Oh, and I want to point out, if you notice, I have all of our big paint pumps here. I let the kids choose their colors. If I don't already have it set out, they might say, you know what, oh, I really want another color. So I let them pick their own colors. And sometimes they don't actually do the stamping, they just end up mixing the colors. And that's it. They don't stamp with it, they don't paint with it, they just like the mixing and seeing what new colors they create. And I'm okay with that. And of course, another thing you can do is stamps or printing with items. So we're starting the building study next week, so we're starting to pull out our bolts and our screws, and they have really interesting tops to them. So I thought we could use these also to stamp with. That one actually is not that interesting, but maybe the kids can work on that one. Kind of makes just a blobby stamp. But that one's kind of cool. It kind of looks like a little butterfly almost, or a deer footprint. So thinking about what you are studying, you can use materials from your study. So then the kids are, handling them. You can be talking about them as well. I know for the ball study, we used some really those pokey, spiky balls and did stamping with those. You can use flowers. Flowers make wonderful things if you're doing the gardening or plant study, and stamp with flowers. So thinking about your study and gathering the materials from what you're using and what you're learning about. Another thing is to paint on one thing and then pull a print from that. So here I've got a muffin tin, and I am going to take paint and just paint on one of them. And this is really good if you have multiple colors, and you can mix them right up on here. And then I just take my paper, I put it down on the table, paper goes on top, and I'm only doing one because I'm kind of hoping that I don't have to clean up too much. And then the kids just rub on all the tops of all the little muffin cups. And then they can see what it looks like. Now this one is not super great because it has one color. Maybe I'll grab another color and show you what it looks like with multicolors. So I've painted it with 2 colors, and then I'll put it on here and take a print from my little muffin tins. Ooh, and look how pretty that turned out. You just imagine kids mixing colors and seeing what it looks like after they take a print from this. This is a fun one. Some other things you can use, anything with texture. Bubble wrap is really fun, so the kids can paint on bubble wrap. I wanted to show you what we use to put the paint onto bubble wrap. You could use a paintbrush and just paint the bubble wrap, but another fun thing to use is a paint roller. Dollar store, super inexpensive. I take these little sponges off and I do wash them out to save them and reuse them, and then they roll into the paint here, and then they can roll it onto the bubble wrap and they take a print from the bubble wrap. I actually don't have any bubble wrap in my classroom. Otherwise, I would show you what it looks like. Another thing you can use is tin foil or aluminum foil. I like to wrap these around a piece of cardboard, just a small rectangular square of cardboard. And then the kids can paint onto the tin foil. It makes a really beautiful palette. And then also when you take a print from it, I don't know, I don't know if it's the material or what it is, but I just paint a little bit on here and I'll pull a print. I'm trying to reuse the paper so I don't waste too much when I'm showing you guys, but I'll show you what it looks like when I take a print from the tin foil. See there, This big one right here is from the tinfoil. Isn't that pretty? And then the cardboard is also a piece of art. So the kids can take this home once it's dry as well. So you've got 2 pieces of art from that one. Your kitchen has really great tools for stamping or printmaking. Fork makes really neat, if they're making grass or just unusual lines. Brushes, potato mashers, those ones are really fun too. And sponges. Sponges can be cut up in all kinds of different shapes, and these are pretty easy to cut. You could give them to the kids and they can make their own shapes to stamp with. So those are fun too. Don't forget food. Food items can also be used for stamping. Apples, if you cut them, well, I guess if you cut them either way, but if this is the apple and this stems up here and you cut it this way, then you end up seeing the star that's in the star around the apple seeds. Or if you cut it, this way, would that be horizontally and vertically? You get a different kind of print. So apples, potatoes, if you cut those and then allow the kids to, use not a sharp knife, but dig lines and shapes into it, that makes really cool prints as well. So don't think just about that tools that are in your kitchen, think about also food that might be interesting. Celery, pieces of celery, the ends of it, because it has this little arch kind of rainbow shape, that's really cool. Pineapple stems, is that what you call them? Stems, I guess. Those would be neat to print and use printmaking as well. Peppers are really cool. Citrus fruits, anything that you can cut and has an unusual shape to it can be used for printmaking. Actually, that would not be printmaking, that would be more like stamping. So they're great for stamping. Forgot about this one until I was looking through the cupboards for stuff, but printmaking with shaving cream. So what I've done here is I've just used reusing the piece of tinfoil I already used. You put a little bit of shaving cream on and drops of food coloring. You could also use liquid watercolor, that's really pretty too. And then what you do is on the shaving cream, all you do is you drop a couple of drops of food coloring or liquid watercolor. They're really great to use those pipettes, those small little, I guess they're eyedroppers. And then you have the kids just run, I usually use just a Q-tip or a toothpick, run it through here just a little, really gently to kind of mix the colors up. And then all they do is they take their paper. So I'm trying to do this so you guys can actually see what I'm doing, but that's very technical to figure this out. Take a piece of paper, put it on top and gently rub it. And then once you take it off, it does not look like much, but then you have the kids just wipe off the shaving cream and let me show you what the effect is. And then look, it makes this beautiful marbled color and look to it. And of course, it's not about what it looks like in the end. It's not the end product, it's the process. What a fun process this one is. I would use thicker paper because it does get pretty wet. So use thicker paper for that one. I can't wait to do this one this year with these kids. Every time I stop the camera, I think of, oh, there's another idea. Oh, there's another idea. So another one, putting paint, watered down paint into a cup and having the kids blow bubbles into it. Not suck on the straw because that's disgusting, but blow into it. And then they put the paper on top and take a print from that. That turns out really cute too. One thing about the straws is you'd have to have a lot of them because as soon as one child uses it, you want to throw this out for sure. I was thinking you probably don't want to do it in a cup because that's a lot of liquid. You could do it in just a shallow bowl. One of my favorite things to use for a shallow dish is yogurt containers or applesauce containers that are empty and washed out because they make great little cups. Cookie cutters, these are Play-Doh ones, but cookie, Play-Doh, whatever. These cutters also make really fun stamps that you just tap in the paint and put on your paper. I already mentioned flowers, but there are a lot of other things in nature that could be used for stamping. So look around, leaves, pine cones, leaves. If you get them big enough, you can have the kids paint on them, and then they put the paper on top and pull a print from it. Those are really, really pretty. Pine cones, feathers, just thinking about things in nature. Maybe you bring in a large piece of bark that has that texture on it. They can paint on it and then pull a print from that. So don't just think of the materials you have inside, think of what you have outside as well. And there is no need to go and buy things. You can use what you have. I was thinking of styrofoam trays. You know those ones that your meat comes on? It's like usually a white styrofoam tray. I would be okay just washing those off with soap and water and using them in a classroom, because if kids use a pencil, not too sharp, but a pencil, and draw into the styrofoam, it leaves like that indentation. And if you paint over that, you can use the roller to roll it on so it doesn't get into all the nooks and crannies. And the kids can take a print from that. It is really pretty. I'll put a picture of what one will look like right here so you can see what kind of images and art that the kids can create using that technique. I think I'll stop there. I have lots of ideas for process art, but today I'm just gonna stick to stamping and printmaking. I hope you like this video and give it a thumbs up if you did. And if you have any other ideas, put them in the comments down below, because I would love to hear what you have to say. And maybe you have some ideas for printmaking and stamping that I haven't thought of. That is it. Have a happy day, and thanks for watching.